Homeschooling can definitely bring its challenges. Let's talk about how to homeschool as a work-at-home mom. Hi-ho everyone, I'm Ashley from joyfulnoiseandlearning.com, and if you are new here, thank you for joining me. I've been homeschooling for 7 years, my 3 beautiful kids, and I'm married to a techie geek musician. And today I'm doing a collaboration again with Rachel at 7 in All, and I love her channel. She is a wonderful homeschool mom who has great tips for homeschooling both with little ones and homeschooling the high schoolers as well. You can follow her and her family over at 7 in All here on YouTube. Also, I have some other great friends who I'm excited to share this with. We are doing homeschool challenges. So homeschooling has challenges all in and of itself, right? There's lots of different ones. So we are all tackling some of the ones that we have gone through that we want to encourage you in, to encourage you to be able to homeschool this year, whether it's your first year or whether it's your 10th year. We want to be able to encourage you. So please check out the playlist in the description below and you can see all the other videos that are coming with this collaboration. As far as my video, I'm glad you're here, and we're going to talk about, you've already seen it in the title, how to homeschool while working. And specifically, this is working at home. I know that some of these tips can do well for you if you are working outside of the home, but if you're working at home, I can definitely speak to that for sure, because I haven't worked outside of the home in a long time, other than volunteering in the community and church, things like that. But as far as work goes, I've been working from home for the past 6 years, and I've been homeschooling all along the way. I want to share with you what I have learned as a work-at-home mom and hopefully encourage you to make homeschooling work for you. First off, I want to give you a little bit of my background. I started out as a virtual assistant, a VA, if you hear me say that in the future, but a virtual assistant for a blogger in 2014. But overall, I have worked anywhere from 4 hours a week to about 20 hours a week doing virtual assistant work. And I've been homeschooling along the way. And now my kids are young. My kids, if you want to know, they're ages my kids are ages 5, 7, and 9 right now. But we'll talk about that. Let's get into the things that have helped me homeschool while I work at home. And if you stick around to the end, I'll give you a glimpse of my schedule and how I make that work. So the first thing that has helped me a ton, and I didn't really discover this until later in the game, but you want to do block scheduling. Block scheduling works for me. It's when you chunk your time into chunks. Does that make sense? When you put all your activities into different chunks and you stick them together throughout the day, or even throughout the week. So basically you're gonna have a chunk of time for your schooling, a chunk of time for your work, and then a chunk of time for taking care of your house or yourself. You're gonna just chunk your time together into blocks. As work-at-home moms, we have a unique situation. For women who work outside of the home, they are separated from their home space. So they have it already blocked off for them. They may have a boss who can see them and say, hey, keep working, keep working. And on the other side, for the homeschooler moms who don't work, they can have a little bit more flexibility in their day because they don't have to get that work done. But for us, we're kind of right in the middle where we have a little bit of flexibility, but we also need to be disciplined and make sure that work gets done since we're not going to an office. And so what I'm saying is, once you've blocked off your chunks of time for your work or your school, you stick to in that block what you said you were going to do. Otherwise, you can fall behind, or feel at least like you're falling behind in one or both of those areas. And that's definitely what I've gone through in my life, and it's not very fun. No. So along with blocking off your time, have a talk with your kids. Sit down with them, give them the expectations and say, okay, this is the time where mommy works, and this is the time where you can have mommy's attention fully, 100%. They need to know what to expect, whether this is time where we need to focus and work on school because we can't do it later because mommy has to work. Explain that to them. Also, they need to know, okay, this is time when mommy is working, so you need to not bother me as best you can and work on the things that I have assigned or given you to do in this time block. But if you have babies or toddlers, don't worry about laying down that many expectations because they're not gonna get it. They only know 5 minutes and that's it. So just work while they're sleeping and don't work while they're awake. That's just my big tip for that. Next, after block scheduling, you're going to want to prioritize what you do with your time. This has helped me a ton. And I would love to do a video series on prioritizing and, talking about being able to do it all. Maybe interviewing some other homeschool moms. So if you would like to hear more about that, be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you can know when those videos come out next. So anyway, we have to prioritize our time. And it's a big word, I know it is, but really we can't do it all. We only have so many hours in the day. Unless you have extra hours, then how do you get extra hours in the day? Please tell me if you have a secret. So if you know what you really want to do, then you can prioritize your time and stay focused and be able to homeschool and work from home well. So how do we do this? How do we practically do this, Ashley? I will tell you. First, you got to start with a time budget. There are so many people that I have followed who have introduced time budgets to me. One of them is Misty Winkler. Another is my good friend Leanne Dutton, who talk about intentional time blocks. So first, in order to do your time budget, you just need a master list. You're gonna write down all the things that you hope to get done in a week with all the responsibilities that you have. And really, you gotta list all of them. Don't skip on any of it. You've gotta list off what you wanna do for school, what you wanna do for work, what you need to do to take care of your house, what you need to do to spend time with your husband, your spouse, and don't forget to take care of yourself. What are things you need to do to take care of yourself? I have to write on my list to take a shower because then there are times I forget to do that. Whoops. Next, you're going to think about how long it takes you to do each of those activities or how much time during the week you're going to need for that. So be realistic with that time. It's easy to be like, oh, I can shower in 5 minutes, when really it takes you maybe 30 minutes from the time you get into the shower, get out, get dressed, and finish. So be realistic with your time. Now you take all those things you know you need to get done, you know how long it's going to take, and you start putting those blocks in your time budget, and you pick a time a day for when you're going to do that. When are you going to homeschool? When are you going to work? When are you going to make dinner? When are you going to go grocery shopping? The list goes on and on. So all those things you plug into your weekly time budget, and then you can see and look, okay, this is how I'm going to be able to fit everything in. One tip for that really quickly is be sure to include margin in your day or in your week, whether that means little breaks throughout the day or maybe taking a whole day off from work and schooling, or making sure you have a free evening to have a girls' night, because you don't want to be running yourself ragged every day, putting all your time together as close as you can. If you're running into that, then that means something has to go, or you have to simplify something in order to fit in everything you want to in the week. But I've got to tell you, it is possible. It's really, really possible. It just takes some intentionality and thinking about it and making sure you have it all planned out, ready to go. Okay, and my next tip for how to work this out when you're trying to work from home is to work with your body's natural rhythm or your family's natural rhythm. My biggest tip for this and how to work from home when you have children and when you're trying to homeschool them, my biggest tip is to try to work when they're not awake. This gives you only 3 options. So the first option is to work early in the morning before they wake up. You can get at least 2 hours in, I'm sure, maybe 3, depending on how early you get up or how early your kids get up in the morning before they wake up. Maybe it's late at night after the kids go to bed, or just shortly before they go to bed, and then you stay up a little bit later. And then the last option would be during nap time, if you have little ones who still nap in the afternoon. And if you are working more than 3 to 4 hours a day, you're going to have to do maybe a combination of those 3 time periods. I just highly, highly recommend that you don't do both waking up early and staying up late. If at all possible, don't do that. Ask me how I know. I have to add that I highly recommend getting 6 to 7 hours of sleep each day. You got to make sure you put in sleep, otherwise you're going to be tired. You're not going to be able to do any of it, right? Another great thing to do is get some help. I don't necessarily have a babysitter. I know I've had a friend in the past that she has a mother's helper come in for 1 or 2 afternoons a week to take care of her kids while she works. I think that is a great idea. Another thing to do would be to have your husband help or somebody else who lives with you. They could either put the kids to bed while you work a few hours later in the evening before you go to bed. Or maybe you get up early and then you work until 9 or 10 in the morning, and dad gets up and gets the kids ready for the day before he goes to work. It all depends on your family and what you guys can do, whether you're a night person or a morning person. I don't know, but it's up to you. And the great thing about homeschooling is you don't have to school just Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You actually have 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day to work with. So if your family is better in the evenings, maybe you work during the day, and then in the evenings you do school with your kids. Maybe you guys are all early morning people and you can get school done early in the morning and then you go to work. Think a little bit beyond what normal school has been. You can use all hours of the day if needed. Now that's how you pick when to work and how to work it out. So as far as school goes, I want to tell you something. If you're going to remember anything from this video, please remember this. Think simple. Let me say it again. Simple. So if working right now is your priority for your family, you may not be able to do as much of the fun extra unit studies or things with the kids during the season. So there's 3 main things that you just need to focus on for school if you have elementary age kids. If you have older middle school and high school kids, hopefully they're able to do more than these 3 things, and they can just be more independent working on these things while you work. But if you have those younger kids, these are the 3 things you need to do. You pick a math, you pick a language arts, which is just phonics and handwriting for under 7 years old, and then grammar, spelling, writing, and reading for your 8 years old and older. And then doing a read aloud, making sure you're reading to them just as much as you can throughout the day. Whether that's at nighttime before bed, first thing in the morning, at lunchtime, whatever you do. So these are the things that you do with your kids. But what do they do while you're working? I know that is the big question everybody's wondering. So first off, again, if you have kids who are napping, they are napping while you're working. But if your kids are too old and don't nap anymore, the best thing to do is have them do independent activities while you're working. So my kids do independent things that they can do without me, like reading. They can sit and read what they're reading that day, piano practice, music practice, even just free play, even just playing with their toys or playing outside, or educational hobbies. And I say educational hobbies because that's a really loose term. It really could be anything, and have time for those hobbies in the afternoon. I'm a Charlotte Mason follower, and I love that our afternoons are spent with them doing things that interest them. So for example, my kids in the afternoon will play outside, and I have a window right by my desk that I can pay attention to them playing outside. And they are a little older. I don't mind them playing outside without me, but they also love to knit. They love to craft. They love to work with clay. I have kids that love Legos. They love to do Legos. I have kids that love to build forts. Some kids who love to draw. They also love watching science videos on YouTube or in history videos that I pick and I put in a playlist, and they watch those on YouTube in the afternoons. STEM activities are huge. I have some kids who love STEM activities. Little guys like to play dress up or like to play store, but they do this all on their own. It's not adult-led play, it's all child-led. This is also a good time to do a quiet time. So maybe your kids aren't napping, but maybe they need a quiet time. They're at that preschool age, or maybe everyone needs a quiet time anyway. That's when everybody gets a book or some picture books or some quiet play activities, and they go sit in their room or sit in their bed for 30 minutes to an hour while you work. But you can work during that time, and they have their own quiet time. We do that most days, not every day, but most days we do that as well. So that is what my kids do while I work. And you know what, guys? I really do want to share my schedule with you, but I'm realizing this video is getting kind of long. So I'm going to make a follow-up video for you to share with you my work at home mom schedule for homeschooling. So again, if you haven't yet, be sure and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will know when that next video comes out to see a sample of my schedule. So thank you. I'm so glad you made it through. Don't forget to check out Rachel and her channel and all my other great friends on the playlist in the description box below. I know that some moms are doing how to homeschool a strong-willed child, how to homeschool a child with ADHD, how to homeschool with a health crisis, and much more. So be sure to check that out when you get a chance. Also, if you would like some printable planning pages to help you plan your homeschooling and your working schedule, I've got those for you. You can find that link in the description box, or you can go to joyfulnoiselearning.com. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.